Hello everybody, welcome to another unboxing video where I'm going through unboxing and mounting of liquid cooler with LCD display, NZXT Kraken Z63 and one of the best looking PC case, and that's the NZXT 510 Elite, which has a side glass cover and front glass cover together with two RGB fans. Now let's open the box and pull out the case from it. It is nicely packaged, well protected from any transfer damages. There is polystyrene cover on the top and at the bottom as well. So while I'm removing these, let me explain why did I choose this PC case. I always had a black colored PC case on which there was always visible dust, and apparently it is not so much visible on white PC case. And also from the design point of view, I wanted a little bit of change and do all white PC build. The case is actually fairly heavy with weight 7.5 kilos, which is 16.53 pounds, as the compact mid-tower case material is steel and tempered glass. Finally, we have unpackaged the all-white case, and let me lay it down on the unboxing desk and we can check what do we have at the bottom of the case. There is very nice removable mesh filter for power supply airflow intake. And on the rear side of the case we have hole for power supply and several positions for PCI Express cards, and on top we have mesh grill for fan exhaust. Now let's loosen the screw to release the side tempered glass cover. I do not need any tools as the screw has a small knob, and then I'm going to rotate the case and loosen the screws on the other side, as we will need access to all sides of the case for our cable management. Tempered glass cover has one screw and the steel cover has two screws. Still no tool needed to loosen these. Now let's check what do we have on this side of the case as part of the accessories, and we have set of connectors. For this the manual is definitely needed unless you are experienced already. And on this side we also have the smart device version 2. It is already connected with the cables from the fans. There is space between front fans and front glass panel, and on the right bottom side there are two SSD trays and fairly big space for power supply unit and power cables. At the bottom of the case, in the hard drive cage, there is a small box which includes additional accessories, and this includes set of cable ties, set of screws, set of standoffs, non-Intel front panel breakout cable, headset 3.5mm audio jack splitter, and user manual, which includes guidance on smart device version 2 connection, front panel cable connections, buttons explanations, panels removal guidance, cable management system explanation, motherboard installation guidance, power supply installation, expansion card installation, hard drive and SSD drive installation, fan and radiator support guidance, and warranty and support guidance. And now let's do unboxing of the liquid cooler Kraken Z63. The reason why I have chosen liquid cooler instead of CPU heatsink type of cooler with fan from Noctua is that I like the design of the build with liquid cooler and specifically the LCD display on the pump, which can display various information, mainly the CPU temperature, but you can also display GPU temperature or customize GIFs. The first artifact in the package is the user manual, which contains list of components, then guidance on how to mount brackets to the motherboard for various AMD or Intel sockets. On the other side there is a guidance on how to install the pump to the bracket, and mainly cable connections guidance on how to connect the pump to the fans, to the motherboard, how to connect SATA for powering the pump, how to connect USB to communicate with NZXT software, and then some standard warranty and support information. Now let me pull out the shelf made of paper from the box and we can start checking what are the components included in the Kraken Z63 liquid cooler package. Very first plastic sachet contains set of cables. This will include SATA and USB cables. Then we have two 140mm radiator fans, both of them with chamfered intake and fluid dynamic bearings. Then we have set of screws and brackets for AMD and Intel sockets. I have purchased this liquid cooler before the bracket for Intel socket LGA 1700 has been offered, so it is not included. However, there is a way to request it from the NZXT company. And the last component is the pump with LCD together with rubber tubing with nylon sleeve connected to radiator, which is made of aluminium with dimensions 143mm to 315mm with 30mm thickness. And to summarize content of the NZXT Kraken Z63 package, we have the pump with the radiator, 2 fans, set of screws and brackets and set of cables. Now let's loosen 2 screws on the front panel holding the front fans. And we can remove the front panel from NZXT 510 Elite case and put it down to the bottom of the case. You might need to disconnect the fence cables on the back side of the case. Then we can find the sachet with washers which are flat thin metal rings and with long bolts which will be long enough to pass through fans and through fence bracket into the pump radiator. Now let's loosen all 8 bolts holding the fans on the front panel bracket. We will keep the RGB fans and will not be using those included in the Kraken Z63 package. Once all of the 8 bolts are loosened, we can take the radiator and put it on top of the fence bracket and then flip it over, as we will be tightening the bolts from the side of the RGB fans. Now let's take the 30mm fan screw and use the washer to spread the pressure on top of the fan screw hole, and we can start fitting it into place. Now let's start tightening all of the 8 screws. It might be a little bit difficult to match all the holes of the fans, holes in the mounting bracket and the thread holes in the radiator, but eventually I've been able to fit everything together, even though it took me some time. I have speeded up the video into the time lapse just to show that I have really tightened up all of the 8 screws, which is actually going to prevent from vibrations of the fans on the mounting bracket. It is worth to mention that mounting of this 280mm liquid cooler Kraken Z63 without RGB into NZXT 510 Elite PC case is exactly same as mounting Kraken Z63 RGB or Kraken X63 RGB or Kraken X63 without RGB, and with minor differences the guidance can be used for mounting 240mm Kraken Z53 RGB or Kraken Z53 without RGB or Kraken X53 RGB or Kraken X53 without the RGB. Now I can tighten up the screws on the front panel bracket and we can move on to the cable connections. At very first, let's not forget to connect the front fence LED cable back to the smart device. I have disconnected this one when pulling out the fence bracket to mount the Kraken radiator. Then I can untie the Kraken liquid cooler breakout cable set and we'll start connecting each of the connectors to the correct port. But before that, let me unwrap the Kraken pump with LCD from the protective plastic cover. First connector on the breakout cable needs to be plugged into the pump port. Let's make sure it fits properly. And now we can start routing the cables from the breakout cable set. The first one is a SATA power cable, which we will route to the back of the PC case. Second short cable will go to the motherboard, so we'll leave it in the front of the case. Third is a breakout cable for the cooler fans. I'll route this one to the back of the PC case, as that is where we have the cables from the front panel RGB fans. And last optional cable for RGB LED lighting control I'll route to the back. Now let's find out where are connected the cables from the front fans, and they are connected to the smart device breakout cable. This would be sufficient to let smart device control the fans. However, I like the pump to control the speed of the fans on the cooling radiator, and thus I will disconnect it from the smart device breakout cable and will connect it to the pump breakout cable. I had to apply a little bit of the force to disconnect first cable, and then I'm connecting it to the pump breakout cable connector. And now exactly same thing for the second fan cable. I'm disconnecting it from the smart device breakout cable connector and connecting it to pump breakout cable connector. After that we have to do a little bit of cable management. For that, NZXT 510 Elite PC case has smart device cable channel and also zip ties, which are going to help us with proper cable management. So let me just mount the zip tie through the prepared hole on the cable channel, and I can tighten it up so that it does not prevent us mounting of the side panel to its place. Power supply unit is already mounted, so hit the subscribe button to do not miss unboxing and mounting video of that one. Now let's connect the SATA power cable connector from the Kraken pump to power supply SATA cable connector, and there is one more SATA power cable from the smart device, so let me connect that one as well to SATA cable connector from the power supply unit. The PC case also has a cable with USB 3.1 Gen 1 connector, so let's connect that one to any available USB 3.2 connector on the motherboard, and also let's make sure we'll do proper cable management. There is also cable with USB 3.1 Gen 2 connector with cover on top of the connector. Let's remove it. This cable was also part of the NZXT 510 Elite PC case, and we can plug it into any available USB-C motherboard slot. This was not so easy, but eventually it fits in. And there are still few cables from NZXT 510 Elite case as well as from NZXT Kraken liquid cooler to be connected to motherboard. Let's connect the audio connector from PC case front panel. You'll need to find the audio label on motherboard for audio connection and we'll plug it in. Next cable with USB 2.0 connector, which is also part of the PC case. Let's connect it to the free USB 2.0 connector on the motherboard. And one more cable from NZXT 510 Elite PC case with F-panel connector to connect the front panel. We'll find the F-panel connector on motherboard and we'll plug it in. And there is one more cable which is micro USB connector on one end and motherboard USB connector on the other end. The cables end with micro USB I have routed through the hole on top of the motherboard, and second end I have routed to the bottom of the motherboard. Micro USB connector I can connect to the pump, but only after mounting the motherboard to the case and mounting of the pump into the CPU bracket. And the other end of the same cable, which has the USB 2.0 connector, let's connect it to the free USB 2.0 connector on the motherboard. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you are interested in video with unboxing of motherboard and mounting the CPU bracket to motherboard, as well as mounting the NZXT Kraken liquid cooler to CPU bracket. And the last cable from the NZXT Kraken Z63 liquid cooler has a connector which we need to plug in into the main CPU fan connector on the motherboard. That would be it as a first part of this video, where I've been unboxing and mounting NZXT 510 Elite PC case and NZXT Kraken liquid cooler. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for next video on unboxing motherboard, CPU, memory, SSD disk, power supply unit and mounting everything together to get the perfect all-white PC build. And until then, cheers!